Hello and welcome to True Crime Diary, a light-hearted podcast on a serious subject. Every so often we look back over true crime stories to discuss an event that took place on this week in history. I'm your host Mark Decana, and with me as always are my friends Jed Lester.
Hello.
And Rue Turner.
Hello.
So the date we're looking at this episode is the 2nd of March. And in 1978, the world news media widely reported the astonishing case of the theft of a body. But not just any body. From a little cemetery in a little Swiss village, the 20th century's most revered icon of cinema, Charles Chaplin, had been stolen from his grave only 3 months after his death.
Wow. Although, when you say only 3 months, it's...
fresh.
It's, yeah, in history terms, that's near. But when you're thinking about a body in a box in the ground, that's a long time.
Yes, true enough. But it's not like in terms of going back and getting a historical grave. This is a grave that's fresh enough that people have been visiting it still. And it's not like going back to, I don't know, Chopin's grave.
Well, if you were to keep that stored in your house to collect a ransom, I'd much rather Chopin's body in a box.
Yeah. It's, I would say this is generally not known. His legacy is Charlie Chaplin, a film giant. Not. Oh my God, his body's been nicked. I honestly, I didn't know that had occurred at all. No one told me.
Well, I'm telling you now.
Cheers. I'm devastated.
There's nothing like not being kept in the loop, is there?
Yeah.
I'm hearing about this now. What a way to find out.
It was, I mean, by the fact we're talking about it, it was somebody specifically stealing Charlie Chaplin's corpse, as opposed to, I don't know, they were building some flats, so they had to move a cemetery.
As in, like, like a poltergeist.
No, as in, no, we need to
left the bodies.
We need to shift those bodies.
Can you imagine Poltergeist being reshot as if it had been the house had been built on top of Charlie Chaplin's body?
I can imagine that, and it would be brilliant.
It
would be quiet.
Yeah, that's true.
Was it a job lot of shifting some graves, or was it? That is Charles Chaplin. Dig it up.
Where are you from, actually?
George. I'm from Switzerland.
Okay.
Is this Switzerland?
Switzerland, yeah.
Mountains and lakes.
And a forest and a tall trees.
So Chaplin, he lived in Switzerland because he basically got kicked out of America.
He got kicked out of America in the 70s.
No, he died in the 70s. He got kicked out like 20 years
sorry, yeah,
before.
he died. He obviously was dead before 1978. No.
Yeah, he died on Christmas Day, 1977.
Did he?
After the filming of Limelight, it was going to be a premiere in London because it was set in London. And when he left the US to go on the tour and to go to the premiere, he got informed that his US visa had been revoked so that he couldn't re-enter the country.
Right.
That was 1952.
And why would it have been?
Because he was suspected to be a communist.
Right.
Because everybody was.
Because everybody was, yeah.
Right, okay. Everybody was a communist, so everyone
according
was
to
suspected.
The US. Because of the Red Scare and the McCarthy witch hunts and all the rest of it, the Cold War,
I see what you mean.
etc., etc. Everyone's a communist, and so on and so on. And they went, he talks about, he's a working class guy who kicks authority figures in the backside. Giant novelty shoes. So he must be a communist.
Oh, right, okay. So that was the basis of...
Yeah.
Anyone who supports the rights of workers must be a communist.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. What about things like Great Dictator?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was like the nail in the coffin.
So it came out in the absolute epicenter of WW.
But, and of course, also, and America wasn't in the war at that time.
No, that's true.
And they wanted not to be in the war, and they just didn't have it. It wasn't their issue, obviously, isolationism and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he prefaced it in modern times about how industry enslaves the worker and...
Yeah, yes. Well, he was a man of the people, because he grew up poor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good
But
bloke.
it was kind of a 1985 kind of statement in...
And then...
Don't you mean 1984?
Yeah, 1984. Yeah, it was the
George Orwell's
sequel.
less known,
starring
where everything came happy,
starring Michael J. Fox.
In which everything turns out all right.
Yeah. But George.
But George brackets Orwell.
Exactly. Anyway.
Yes, it's interesting that anti-communist sentiment was so massive that this guy who'd been living and working in the US since the First World War.
Yeah, since
decades.
from silent to talkies to full film stars.
Well, The Great Dictator was his first talkie, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he used it to ridicule
Yes.
the situation in Europe.
Yeah. So he, unfortunately, but despite all that, he chose Switzerland, which
Yes.
also would have, at the time, when did he move to Switzerland?
In 1952.
Which by then it would have harboured quite a lot of war fodder.
Yeah.
From meaning, well, hang on, why you? Any reason why you're going to Switzerland? Do you know what I mean? The kind of harbouring not very niceness from what had just occurred up the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of moving to Brazil and Argentina. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. With all the other fleeing Nazi generals, are you? Yeah.
I suppose Switzerland has always been known for its neutrality.
No, that's rubbish.
It's the mountain air. That's what he went for. And a fondness for cuckoo clocks.
I can't stand that. Yeah, we're neutral. It's like, no, you're not. It's if you're not. Well, at the time, when did they become neutral? First World War or specifically second?
Basically, since it's existed, more or less.
Right. Okay. The choice of that side is for that, and that side is for that. You know, the dark sides, if you want to call it that, is for that. And they're like, no, we're next door, but we're it's fine. We're in between.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not. You're not against the so-called baddies, so you're with them. Basically,
well, yeah, it's not if you're not allied with one or the other, then you've got two choices. You are either going to get invaded,
yeah,
or you have to be doing something that is
exactly
somebody's favour,
and they
won't want to invade you because you're helping in some way.
Exactly, yeah.
Like Spain was neutral, but there were U-boat ports in Spain,
right?
So they were neutral, but they didn't stop them leasing land to one side or the other.
Was Sweden neutral? But it clearly wasn't because Norway was occupied.
Norway was occupied, and Finland was invaded by Russia.
Yeah, so and then they said,
Sweden
can we
sat
come through Sweden to get to Norway? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Can we wander through? To drive through to get? Yeah, that's fine. So understandably, historically, and probably to this day, the hatred between those two countries. Because Sweden went, yeah, that's fine. You can climb over our garden to get to their garden.
Yes.
Meaning, that's not neutral at all.
Yeah.
I'm not contributing to this argument because I'm neutral.
No,
fair point.
Yeah, well, you're with him.
Get him. I'm just going to climb over you.
If you're not with me, you're with him. So it was, I don't know, stolen to order body thing,
yes.
was it?
Well, but the morning of March the 2nd, when the grave was discovered empty.
Yeah, the lid off.
The lid off.
Yeah.
It was initially, obviously, rumour mill went mad, and people were saying, oh, he's been moved to be buried in England. Where he was
okay,
born.
yeah.
Or maybe he's been moved to a Jewish cemetery because he was Jewish. He wasn't Jewish, but people thought he was Jewish.
Right, fine.
So, he's been moved there. But actually, then a ransom note was received by his wife, Una O'Neill Chaplin.
Yep.
A ransom demand for $600,000 American.
Delicious ransom.
That's a lot.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, quite a lot.
It's quite specific, but it's... I would have done a beginning with a 5 or a 1.
Well, I think, I would assume that the ransom demand was in Swiss francs.
So
but I cannot find a Swiss franc
million
amount.
Swiss francs. Yeah, right, okay. Yeah.
It's probably like $1 million francs, but it's been translated into US dollars.
Fine. So why would you nick a corpse of a dead film star?
for a $600,000 ransom.
If not ransom, then what?
Oh, right. I thought you were going to say because they forgot his, I don't know, skeleton and...
Forgot his skeleton.
I don't know, turned it into
A Halloween costume.
Yeah, like some art or something like that. But it's just as a collateral.
It's just they wanted to get...
No, sorry. Okay.
It is an odd thing to steal for a ransom. I mean, obviously... much, unlike a person that you steal for ransom, a living person, it's not going to argue with you. It doesn't need feeding.
It's
not going to remember who you are.
Naked old kidnappers.
You could have, I mean, I'm assuming this is what didn't happen, but you could have, if you'd been calm and measured and he's dead and his memory will live on style reaction, you could say... No, it's all right. It's fine. We don't need it. You do know he's dead. What am I going to do? You could. Loads of people would have that kind of. As you say, if he was alive, that's quite important. Yeah. But a box of bones, effectively.
Yeah. That would be my response.
Yeah, exactly. You could say,
"Oh, good on you. Good luck with that."
Yeah. What are you going to do with that then?
Yeah.
Cheers. Thanks. Bye.
Mister, you must be joking. It's just a corpse, worth nothing.
It's not like they have Charlie Chaplin.
No,
they don't.
That's what I mean.
They've got
meat and
some
bones
in a box. Yeah.
So that could have been that could easily have been the reaction. But there's always this humans, in varying nationalities and tribes and religions and whatever, hold value to, even if it was 100 years off. How dare you move his grave? You're, but you could quite easily go, and?
Because I've had this discussion not that long ago as to what should happen to me when I die. And my argument,
you may as well tell us.
Yeah. So
you want to be stuffed and mounted.
No, it's like, I don't care. I'll be dead. But it would be nice to think that I'm put to some use. So if I can be given to like medical students or broad term science,
Sure, yeah.
But it actually doesn't matter.
No, I know it doesn't matter.
If you can harvest some organs to help somebody, then that would be great.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you can't, then
and
I don't care.
Your legacy, whilst not necessarily on the same levels of Chaplin, will still be in the minds of a couple of people within the vicinity. But the point is, yes, if we chopped you up and
when you chopped me up,
fed your legs to the pigs and made your skull into an art piece and blah blah blah, it ultimately doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
It might.
I might like the idea or dislike other ideas while I'm alive, but actually at the point that I'm dead, it's irrelevant.
Yeah. But by the fact that are we solely talking about Charlie Chaplin? Are we talking about any other?
There are some others that might be of interest, but we're just talking about this one. Yeah.
So by the fact that an entire episode is going on, they go, oh my god, get the money together?
I say pay the ransom.
Well, yes and no.
Oh right, okay, right, fine. I thought you were going to say, and they paid it, and then.
Well, it's interesting that the road you went down because.
Oh.
So initially, Una O'Neill's reaction was whatever.
Right.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She's like, well, why'd you do that?
So, for instance,
I'm not giving you anything.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Ransom? Certainly not.
So, for instance, yesterday I went to not a funeral, just a kind of memorial-y wake thing. I don't know what you call it. It's like he died, I don't know, 2 months ago, and it's a kind of, what do you call it? Memorial?
Yeah, memorial sounds about right.
Anyway, and it was a happy affair.
Celebration of life.
Absolutely, yeah. It was. There was no, obviously we were sad, but there was no, boo-hooing, and it was a celebration of life. And that said, I said to somebody, so what merely to have make conversation and out of interest, did you have a, I don't know, private funeral or what? And they just kind of went, Yeah. And then they said, so what happened to the body? We'll sort it out. And it was a kind of
upstairs.
It was a kind of it's just don't worry about it kind of thing. But it was
like it's some washing up that someone hasn't done yet.
I mean, it was a bit odd, but it was what it does is back up what we've just been talking about in the sense of. He died. He was. I don't think he was buried. I think he was cremated. But and it was, move on and remember him kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yes, that's partly why I brought up the subject really. But anyway, that she also said that.
Her initial reaction.
And when you say you were talking about his wife at the time.
His wife,
Una. Yep.
So initially she said, "I'm not giving you anything."
Right.
The hell with you. But obviously, this is so widely publicised,
of course,
that the next thing out of it is that loads of other people decided to ring up with ransom demands as well, because people are
that's what humans do.
Like the dumbest thing. Yeah. So the real ransomers ring up and say, "Oh, give us some money for his body." She goes, "No." So everybody else goes, "Oh, well, maybe we should try then."
Yeah, I don't think it was widely publicised that she said no. I think because everyone had said the body has been stolen, / kidnapped, everyone thought, if I say I can get the ransom money and then just quietly disappear because people are stupid. But, obviously her reaction being, not giving you anything.
Right.
But of course with this ever-rising amount of people demanding money, what have you, and the missing body.
Mm-hmm. And the publicising.
And the publicist.
Yeah.
She, together with the police, said, look, let's try and close the case by arresting the perpetrators. And then the story goes away, the body is returned, and the ransom demands will disappear,
yes,
theoretically. So they asked for proof that they had the body.
What proof is there this isn't a lie?
Understandably.
And
they didn't send a toe, did they?
They didn't send a toe.
Did they send him a cane?
They sent him a bowler hat
and
a
shoe with a hole in the sole.
Small moustache.
A novelty oversized pair of shoes. They sent him a Charlie Chaplin costume from the local shop. No, they sent the photograph of the body.
Oh, God. Right, okay. Yeah.
In its coffin.
With today's newspaper.
Next to a hole
thumbs up
in a cornfield to prove that it was elsewhere, just dig it up, photograph.
What state would it be in, do you reckon?
3 months old.
Clothes.
Closer.
Clothes and a skeleton.
No, it would
be like a
big gaunt and
old potato,
shrunken,
potato
leathery.
Yeah. It would be leathery, exactly. Cause
leathery. I don't know why I said leathery. Leathery. Leathery, you say. Organs, would they exist?
Yeah.
Really? It's like just some meat in a box, isn't
it? The bacteria would have probably done quite a lot with it.
Insects or worms or whatever.
Well, no, the body is mostly consumed by the bacteria that are inside it.
Yeah. Sorry, right, because, it was in a coffin.
Insects have to get A, into the coffin, and B, through the leathery skin.
Yeah,
sure. For the most part. But the bacteria that's already in you won't have been fed, so it'll just eat you.
Yeah.
Inside is always consumed.
So would they be... I don't know, his lungs, would they be just...
We're going to go through every organ
saggy,
one by one.
Saggy meat.
Saggy meat.
Would you know it's hip? Could you say,
You would, you'd be able to tell.
Right.
Yeah, you might recognise
I would think so. Well, certainly his wife would have been able to.
Sure. I would hope so.
I probably wouldn't.
No.
So they know now that this body has been moved, something been photographed next to a hole in a cornfield. So they know, they've buried it in a cornfield somewhere.
Yeah.
We know this.
Yeah.
Which is not
okay. And they have to be in a distance that will be convenient enough to carry a coffin.
Sure, yeah. On a farm.
So they have a
potentially.
Clue. They have a clue of sorts,
Get me a list of Swiss farms who sell corn.
I can see the citizen investigators on this straight away.
Well, I suppose we'd better investigate.
What was it? There's a reporting outlet that started as a result of citizen scientists studying images to work out where they were taken and what was really happening. Bellingcat.
Right.
Do you remember Bellingcat? It's still around now. They're still considered one of the greatest investigative bodies. And they take photos that are taken like surreptitiously at war zones or in criminal cases, and analyse
the
time
geography
and the sky and the landscape,
yeah.
and they'll look at a street lamp that's in the distance,
Yeah.
and they'll work out where that was designed and what country that's in and where it could have been installed, and then slowly narrow it down from all of the aspects in the photograph.
Yeah.
Which is really fascinating.
To
to exactly the point where that photo was taken, and then who could have been in it.
Yeah, there's stuff on YouTube where, I can't remember what you call it,
Location.
something like that, where they get sent a photo of, frankly, anything, really, but usually it's someone's, I don't know, standing in the street or in the country or somewhere, and the competition is to find out where the exact location in the quickest time. And some of them do it in, it's like a picture of a bloke standing near a dual carriageway, and that's it.
Standing under the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. Saying near the pyramids, and within seconds it's like, that's just outside Bordeaux in 1983. So what? It's very.
I mean, in time
clever.
as well. It's in geography is one thing, but in time, it's like, it's a 40-year-old picture of this town. It's like, what?
Yeah.
How could he possibly know? With development and things, what it was that place in that time.
Yeah.
So is that a similar process to what was happening with this particular photograph?
No.
Oh.
Cut all that out.
No.
Then I'm afraid we're at a dead end.
Obviously, they knew they were looking at cornfields, so word went out, police-wise.
Sure.
But in the meantime, they hatched a plan. And when the kidnappers would ring up to say, "Where's our money?" They would get Una to attempt to negotiate a lower ransom.
Okay.
But the police had a tap on their phone.
Yeah.
So every time the kidnappers...
Keep him talking.
Exactly.
We got him!
It was your classic keep him talking. Yeah.
If you get any more calls, you're going to have to keep them on the line longer. You're not giving us enough time to get a trace.
They traced the calls to not one, but many phone boxes.
Oh, wow. So they've been quite smart then.
But all in the area of Lausanne.
Quite smart.
Quite
Not particularly smart.
They didn't leave town.
That's where he was buried.
The town where he lived and was buried is Cozières-sur-Vevey, which is a small village near Lausanne. Lausanne is like the main big town.
Yeah. Lausanne is very nice, by the way. Just in case anyone needs to know.
The town in Switzerland is very nice.
Yes.
I've only been to Zurich, and
I've been
it's like any other big metropolitan city. It's not nice at all.
I know. Lausanne's very nice.
Bought a Big Mac meal. It cost me £20 in Zurich.
Wow.
When?
5 years ago? 6 years ago?
Wow.
Because it's very, very expensive in Switzerland.
Yeah.
I'd say don't go there.
Thank you for that constructive criticism. It's a privilege to take notes from a man of your stature.
But so they narrowed it down to various phone boxes
in the nearby main town. So this is why they worked out obviously that they couldn't have gone far, and they didn't. They went up the road to the nearest big town
and immediately start scanning cornfields in that town,
in and around the environs of Lausanne.
Sure.
But because they kept using telephone boxes in Lausanne, they staked out 200 telephone boxes in Lausanne.
Yeah. Just to have someone near them to.
They just
check everyone. To be fair, quite a lot of people would have been using them, but...
Yeah, but in May of 1978, so 76 days after the robbery, they made an arrest on the basis of staking out the telephone boxes. They arrested 2 men.
Oh, good police work.
It's top-flight police work, that's all there is to it.
Roman Wardas of Poland and Gancho Ganev of Bulgaria were arrested.
Yep.
They were 2 auto mechanics. And they admitted stealing the body for the ransom.
Right.
And that they had admitted that they had buried the body in a cornfield outside Lausanne.
Case closed.
They couldn't remember which cornfield.
Really?
Just as well the ransom wasn't paid then.
The secret to finding a thing is knowing where it is. Now, let me see.
It's the one with the
corn in it.
It's the one with the
coffin.
The hole with the big hole dug in the middle.
The one with Charlie Chaplin's body.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. They were basically taken around, and they eventually remembered where it was.
There's that one.
They actually found out which cornfield it was by using metal detectors, because they picked up the handles of the casket in the ground.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
So that's when they couldn't work out. Oh, is it this cornfield? All cornfields are the same, aren't they?
But that's quite hard, really,
because there'll be loads of metal in around and about.
And you've got to be within a metre.
You do, yeah.
It's not like you can.
It can't be 6 foot down, can it?
No, they would never bother with that. They would just put it below the surface.
Yeah, they would have been your classic shallow grave. I mean, the fact that it was still in its coffin is amazing in itself. Because they had to carry that as well. That would have been quite heavy.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, that'd have been better off putting him in a rug or something, rolling him up in a rug.
A rug, yeah.
Again, another classic trope.
He would have appreciated the gag, I think.
I found him!
So the two of them, they were basically, it was money. Obviously, we know that they ransomed it because they were both in heavy debt, and so it was basically to solve their financial problems. Yeah. Their original plan was to dig up the body, dig the grave deeper, and then rebury it back in the same grave.
Oh, that's sneaky.
Which is actually quite clever. Yeah. So it would look like the grave would be robbed, but the body was actually still there. Because you're going to look everywhere except
in the grave.
And then you don't have to worry about finding a place for a body.
Exactly. You don't have to move a body. You don't have to hide a body.
Yeah. That's a good plan.
Yeah, actually quite good.
But they didn't do that.
Okay.
Hiding in plain sight.
Yeah. Yes, so the body was recovered eventually. They both went to court for a number of things, desecration of a gravesite, etc. Ganev got 18 months suspended sentence on the basis of limited responsibility. He was basically like the guy who held the shovel.
Yep.
Vordas, as the guy who orchestrated the plan, got 4.5 years hard labour.
Wow. Hard labour in
1978.
In 1978, yeah, sorry.
So basically, making license plates is the equivalent, I suppose.
Oh, right. Yeah, because I was going to say.
Not so much breaking rocks.
No.
In the 70s.
Not in the slightest. No. Here's a load of hard maths questions. You've got this exam lasts 4 years. 4.5 years. Yeah. So, are we. Is that the end of the case? Is that the end of the story? Something
almost
tells me.
Chaplin then received another burial, but this time encased in concrete.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. To prevent it being re-disinterred.
Yep.
Next time we'll have a foolproof coffin.
And the whole story was, of course, immortalised on film, as Chaplin would have wanted. In 2014, Javier Beauvoir made a film, La Rançon de la Gloire, The Price of Fame.
That looks really good.
Yeah. And it stars Benoit Poulvord, who was in Man Bites Dog.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
What, the main bloke?
Main guy. Belgian, I believe. Other grave robberies. There was a plan, although it didn't actually get very far. In 1876, there was a plan to steal Abraham Lincoln's body.
Interesting.
You recollect an Abraham Lincoln, my lord?
Ah, yes, fell over the cherry tree.
The intention was
for the same reason. Plan.
$200,000 ransom was intended in 1876.
Wow. That's more.
That is more. That's more.
I would say that's more.
I'd say you're right.
Yeah. Okay.
However, the attempt was thwarted. They did break into the grave.
Go on.
But it turned out that one of the gang was actually an agent for the government.
Oh, yeah.
So they were caught in the act. Elvis Presley?
Really?
Yep. There was a 3 weeks... 3 weeks after he died, there was apparently an attempt to break into his grave.
Really? That would have been a big...
But he did not leave the graveyard.
Well, it was alleged that it was his father's... It was like a ruse that his father had done because they wanted to bury his body at Graceland.
Right.
He was buried in a cemetery. And they said, well, someone's tried to break into the grave, so...
We need to move it.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's move it to Graceland.
Okay.
Which they did.
And that's where he is now.
Yeah.
That's good. Elvis has left the graveyard.
There you go.
Yeah. Weak, but yes.
Hey, there goes Elvis. You okay?
This would have been quite a big coffin.
It would have been a big coffin,
wouldn't it?
It would have been, yeah.
I mean, I know he wasn't like Mr. Creosote, but he was. He was
of larger.
He was quite big, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah. Are you familiar with F.W. Murnau?
No.
He's the director of the original Nosferatu.
No, Nosferatu.
Okay.
Director, not the bloke.
Not the
kind of.
No, that's
Hills Have Eyes.
Klaus Kinski.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, okay.
Well, Klaus Kinski played him in 1979, but it was Max Schreck who was in the original.
Ah, yes. So we're talking original. So Shrek.
Yeah.
Nosferatu Shrek, director F.W. Murnau.
Right.
Him. The director, Murnau, his skull was stolen from his grave in 2015.
I mean, that's just... Well, finish the story first before I dismiss it. I would say that is just a nutcase nicking something from it. That is not... I'll tell you what we're going to get today. We're going to get the director of Nosferatu's bit of body.
I think that's just
someone...
Psycho.
Yeah, and who happens to... Oh, you never guess what he did.
That's somewhere in the back of... in a library, in a basement library somewhere.
Yeah.
He's got friends come around and go... Look at this, look at this, look at this.
Exactly, yeah.
The skull. You know who that is? F.W. Murnau. Who's that then?
Who the hell's that? Yeah. Is it the bloke, the main on the post? No, it's the director. Oh, forget it
then. Ground-penetrating radar that's been used in Stratford-upon-Avon.
That's a good phrase.
Thank you. Indicates that Shakespeare's skull is missing from his grave.
Really?
Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
That was my skull!
But
well,
also,
they use it a lot in the.
They use it in the play.
In the play. Yeah. No, that was
that's Yorick.
Yorick. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I knew him.
Yeah. I vaguely knew him.
But they reckon because of obviously you can tell about ground shift. They think it was taken 200 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I'd been buried 200 years, and then 200 years later, we discovered that 200 years ago.
I mean, that's quite a good. If you said to me, "Come in my back room,"
hello,
I've got. You see that skull there? Of these many skulls.
See your voice.
Your skull.
See my personal ossuary.
My massive skull collection. See that one there? That verified Shakespeare. I'd go, really? I'd be quite impressed.
I would say, I know you, and I would say you would say, really? You got any cake?
Yeah. I would be quite impressed with more so than the bloke who directed a film
whose name you've forgotten already.
Yep. Abraham, whatever, Lincoln. Was it Abraham Lincoln? Yeah. Charlie Chaplin. I'd say Shakespeare's top of that list.
I'd say Shakespeare's skull is almost certainly sitting in a private collection in America somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, I reckon you're right. And no one's ever going to know about it, and it's just merely a...
And no one would believe you if you said
no, exactly. Yeah. But
there's no provenance that can be provided.
Of course, no.
In 2012, there was a man stole the teeth out of the graves of Johannes Brahms and Johann Strauss. Both. He stole their teeth.
Good grief.
Again,
was that for DNA?
I don't know.
He stole them for DNA.
Yeah.
For his own...
Well, there's good quality DNA.
I need some DNA.
Or he could put them in a little display case, say, Brahms' teeth, Shakespeare's skull.
Yeah. Ta-da.
DNA. Get it?
He was caught because he, in this modern age, he posted videos of himself doing it.
Did he know?
Head.
Did he know what he was doing, or was he just nicking some teeth? Did he?
Well, you would think he accidentally dug up two composers' graves.
Yeah.
I suppose it's possible. You could stumble.
I'd have done if I was him. I'd have made them into a piano. Teeth
playing the old ivories.
Teeth piano, right, and then played Brahms a lot on it.
It'd make a really tiny piano.
It would be, quite
tiny piano for a child. My first piano.
Yeah.
I have one more.
Yep.
1982, the ashes of Groucho Marx were stolen.
Really?
From a cemetery in Mission Hills, California.
Yep.
And they were recovered in Burbank. And apparently they were put there as a joke, because apparently Marx himself once said, "I'd never be caught dead in Burbank."
Oh, right. That's what you mean. Yeah. So somebody just took that to the nth degree of... Yeah, okay.
And there you go.
This leaves me speechless. I'll see that you remain that way.
Grateful to me.
That's all for this time. If you want to know more about what we've talked about in this episode, Google it or something. You can listen to all of our previous episodes on our website, truecrimediary.co.uk. Please leave a review on your podcast provider if you can, or you can send an email to truecrimediarypodcast@gmail.com. My thanks to Jid and Roo, and to all of you for listening, and we'll see you again on the next date in our True Crime Diary.